Podcast for Boston is brought to you by Mooney Dental in Woburn. Kevin Mooney is a proud BC alum. Also, we thank NWN, the official technology infrastructure partner of Boston College Athletics, and the Stockyard. Stop into the Stockyard in Brighton every Thursday night at 6 for the Bill O'Brien radio show. SeatGeek, they're the official ticket marketplace of BC Athletics. Find your tickets to Eagle games and much more. The podcast for Boston is brought to you in part by Catches Law Group. Just like the Eagles rely on teamwork to win on the field, you can count on Catches Law to fight for you in the courtroom. Over $3 billion recovered for our clients and no fee unless you win. Catches Law Group, the legal team on your side. The podcast for Boston is brought to you by Awaken 180. Pete Cronin, my broadcast partner in football, well, we both started Awaken 180, and we are loving it. We've already lost 14 pounds. I'm not surprised, though. I've seen so many others have success. We just needed to do it, and what's stopping you? Awaken180weightloss.com. Check them out today. You won't be disappointed.
I'll be the best alive. I'm gonna show you how to do it right. You'll see how you should be living life. But when you do, it's not that hard. Really gonna wanna give it up. I'll be the best alive. I'm gonna show you how to do it right.
Welcome to the podcast for Boston. Great to see everybody. I'm John Mita Perrell. Great to see the coach, Earl Grant, is our basketball check-in commences. Earl, how you doing?
Doing great. How are you?
I'm doing good, thanks. Welcome to our nice little cozy studio.
Yeah, it's a nice little eagle's nest back here. Kind of hidden and tucked off, but
Yeah,
it is cozy.
well done by our staff. And you had your opener the other night, Florida Atlantic. Very encouraging on many levels. You played some good basketball. What'd you see? What did the tape tell you?
You know, the tape doesn't lie, right? And so what I saw was a lot of early season mistakes. Paint decisions at the rim, where we got 2 feet in the paint. They were really long. So it was more like an ACC opponent in terms of the length that they acquired through the transfer portal, all from Power 5 schools. So when you got in the rim, it was like an ACC game. You gotta decide, can you finish that shot or do you kick it out for threes, finding your teammates? I thought our execution at times was really good. We found a rhythm in the middle of the game, but early on, a little bit choppy, and so got to continue to try to excel at execution, make good paint decisions. But our defense was tough. I think the second half, going into halftime, it was 37-34. We were down. We weathered the storm. Great atmosphere, great crowd, a lot of energy, hot. I was sweating like a, like an animal in there. And so really loud, really hot. And the second half, we really took control of the game. They had a hard time scoring on us. We took the lead, but just had a few mistakes that gave them an opportunity to get some open threes, and they capitalized.
The mantra in the preseason, it seems like it always has been this for you, gritty, not pretty. Does that still apply this year?
It is. We got to know who we are. Sometimes you can be confused about your identity, and that's a bad thing, right? Typically we don't come out and score 120 points a game, 105, right. But we really guard you, and we make it tough on you, and we try to, limit easy baskets and contest everything, and have confrontation in the lane and hit cutters and, rebound the first miss. And so that's who we are. We got to embrace that. So sometimes, a great game for us is when our opponents score low. We'll erupt at times because we do have talent where we can score in the 80s, but it's more important that we keep our opponents, their points down, and don't give them anything easy and have a good high level of grit to make it tough for them.
And from what you saw throughout the preseason, you think you're on the right track. Game number 1 now in the distance. You got one coming up on Thursday. We sit here on Wednesday, but you guys feel like you are figuring it out?
Yeah, we played one game that counted.
Right.
Lost it in overtime, right? And was very uncharacteristic with some of our free throw shooting. We had the game in the bag and wish we could play that game again, but that's over. But we learned a lot from it. So now we got to grow from it. We got to get stronger from it. Other than that, it was very similar in the UConn game. I don't know how UConn would be this year. Obviously they got a good program. They've had a good program for 40 years.
Yeah.
I think the last 3 head coaches that coached it have won a national championship. So
Yep.
obviously it's a winning program, and we competed there, you know. So I think that it's a situation for us. The Brown scrimmage, we played all of our players. You know, that was a good opportunity for us to get everybody a lot of minutes. So I think we're learning and growing, and then we're anxious to play again tomorrow, get back out on our home court, and try to, you know, improve from what we saw in the game the other day against Florida Atlantic.
You went shopping in the offseason, brought in some very good talent, high-caliber talent. We saw that against Florida Atlantic. Bowden Kapke from Butler, 17 points, 8 rebounds. What was your philosophy in the offseason to bolster the team?
I mean, you know, it's interesting. Our offseason, you know, it's different now with coaching. You used to have an offseason.
Yeah.
But now when the season ends, the season starts.
Yep.
So it's like your season ends in March. You know,
No rest.
you go to the Final Four in April for a coaches convention,
Yeah.
but it's no rest. It's like you got to sign these players, you got to retain these players. So it's an interesting situation. Like there's no restoration, there's no let up.
Yep.
You actually get done with the season, and then you start it right back. So for us, you know, we thought retaining some of the guys would be crucial. I'm pretty convinced that, you know, a model to win at Boston College is a hybrid model. I don't think it's an overhaul every year.
Yep.
I think you have to keep some players who can help you carry the culture, who can help you teach some of the things that you're trying to instill in your program offensively and defensively. They can, you know, relate a message to the new guys.
Sure.
But what we wanted to do was get more positional size, more athleticism. We felt like last year we were a little bit on the small side when we matched up to some of our opponents in the conference. So we wanted to be able to look some people eye to eye.
Yep.
We wanted to find some guys who can rebound the ball at 12 feet, you know, and go get it in a crowd, that can, you know, defend their guys and make second jumps. You know, they got to go try to contest some stuff at the rim. You know, a lot of this confrontation at the rim at this level.
Oh, yeah.
And if you can't meet them at the rim, you're in trouble. So I think we did that. We added depth, we added length, size, experience, and we also added more three-point shooting. So we're more improved, and then now we got to get these guys to find rhythm. You know, hopefully we find it quicker than later, you know, because when you do have new guys, it ain't like you're returning the whole team in the old time.
Right.
Old days, you return the whole team, everybody know what's going on. But now you got to do some speed dating to build the relationships and to get them to understand the system.
The podcast for Boston is brought to you by Mooney Dental, an award-winning high-tech dental office in Woburn. Kevin Mooney is a BC grad, and he loves his Eagles. He's well respected in the dental community at Mooney Dental. They take great pride in providing their patients with the highest quality dental health care in a relaxed and comfortable environment. Visit mooneydental.com for more information or call 781-621-9387 to book a new patient visit. Donald Henn, a linchpin of your program. You retain him. He's one of the best players in the ACC. What has he done to get better?
You know, he's worked hard. You know, the hard-working farmer should get the first share of the crop. You know, I believe that. I think hard work works.
Yeah.
You know, and I think getting up early before other people and you can outwork somebody. And he's put in the time, you know, a lot of equity in the gym, working on his shot, working on his ball handling, working on his body. Like, you know, he goes and does yoga at 6 a.m. over at the rec center. He comes over and gets shots in, and then he's calling me or one of the other coaches, hey, can we watch film? Like, and it's like every day. It's clockwork. So he's going to be a very successful player at BC this season, and he's going to play ball after BC. But at some point when the ball stops bouncing, because of his habits, he's going to be able to outwork people in the world, like whether it be corporate or, you know, whatever he decide to do, because if you hire him, he's going to beat everybody to the office. He's going to do everything you ask him to do. Yep. And he's going to be, you know, eager and hungry and searching for ways to get better.
Is there a player flying below the radar you feel like is going to make an impact this year that people maybe aren't talking about yet?
I mean, I think we got a cluster of guys like that. that right now are battling to break out, to be an X factor. And it's, 4 guys who all could do it.
Yeah.
We know Fred Payne, we know Luka Taze, Donald Hand, Jaden Hastings, we know those guys. I think they'll all have good years and, play good basketball to help us move the needle forward and get the program moving back in the right direction of where we had it.
Sure.
We're trying to get back to where we had it. And so, we've been there. We've seen it. We had some success, and we want to get back to it. And so we can kind of bust through and get to the next phase. But I think the cluster of guys is like Jason Asamoah, Marco I can't pronounce his name. He's from
Just call him
Montenegro,
Marco.
Radakovic, yeah. Radanovic.
Yep.
So he'll be proud when he hear me say that. Marco Radanovic from Montenegro. Kenny Chianda, he's a sophomore, and I think Caleb Steger. I think those 4 players are trying to break through, that 2 of them are going to kind of really be able to make a mark. And then the other 2 will play from time to time. But so Jason's 6'9", he can really shoot.
Yep.
He's long, he's athletic. Kenny's 6'9", he can really shoot. He's long, he's athletic. Marco's a guard, he's 6'7", he's long, he's athletic. And Caleb Stegers can really shoot the ball at 6'4", 6'5", with great positional size. So all 4 of those guys together, they're great players. And somebody's going to emerge and take a hold of, being a major part of our rotation. And then the other 2 will be like specialists. They play when they're needed. But so I think all 4 of them have an opportunity to do something special for us.
The recurring theme that I heard throughout the offseason was this team looks like they're more athletic, they're stronger, conditioning's better. Do you feel like that's a representative situation for you now?
Yeah, I think, Mark Proto, our strength coach, he's the only strength coach I ever had. I'm going on 13 years with him. So I've never had another strength coach. And
Wow.
so he's seen about 5 NBA players in his time that we've coached. That's been a part of our program. He's changed bodies. And so our guys love going in to the weight room with him. He does a terrific job. And then we emphasize conditioning in the off season. Just making sure we were, at least pushing it to another level where we can get a little bit uncomfortable. So I think we did a good job of the strength and the conditioning, but Mark Proto has a lot to do with that.
That's a good word you just used, uncomfortable. It seems like every time you talk to an ACC coach, when they play BC, they know they're going to be in for a fight.
Mm-hmm.
What do you have to do this year to take the next step in conference?
I think it starts now. See, I'm more process oriented, so that's so long away from here.
Correct.
We got 12 games before that. We got 1 tomorrow. So, and we probably got, 12 games, maybe 40 practices before we play ACC game. So it's I just want to get a little bit better every day.
Yep.
I want to get the guys executing at the level we can. I want to get the guys defending at the level that we can and being stingy, rebounding the first miss, getting our transition defense set, and knowing that we can do it. So gaining confidence in our system, that there's some mastery there. And then I think also, getting the team to know their role and buy into it. So that's going to be a process because, we got to go through some games to get to that.
Sure.
So in order to take the step that we need in the ACC, we need to have a really strong non-conference, and we need to grow every day.
And your staff is strong as well. You have a lot of experience on the staff. Seems to me a very, very varied personalities. Jim Molinari, a guy who we know well, who's always quick with a joke and is very conversational, but a guy that's been around. So you guys, did you build your staff that way, knowing that you needed some battle-tested guys?
Yeah, I think I've always had a head coach on my staff. When I was at College of Charleston, I hired Milan Brown. He had just finished up at Holy Cross. He had been the head coach for 12 years, so I hired him. He did a terrific job helping me there, bringing perspective to the staff. And then with Jim Molinari, didn't necessarily know him. I didn't know Milan much neither, but, when Milan, Greg Marshall, one of my mentors, he mentioned Milan. Hey, you need to look at this guy. He's a very talented, young coach that's been a head coach for a long time.
Yeah.
Jim Molinari is not necessarily a very talented young coach, but he's a very talented, weathered coach. He's been a head coach for 20 years.
Yep.
And so, speaking to Lon Kruger and Richie McKay and some of these different guys that I respect, when I was looking for one more assistant, I wanted a head coach, so I was able to hire him. And then Steve Smith is like a head coach.
Yeah.
He's been 13 years in the ACC, being at Florida State and Clemson. We actually worked together at Clemson. So somebody that's been around the league, that I've personally been through some battles with him when we were trying to get Clemson from 12 wins to the NCAA. Like, we had to fight for every inch. So I knew he was battle tested. And then Corey McRae is someone who was in the CAA with me. He was at Delaware.
Yep. And
he helped Martin Inglesby build that program up. I respected what they did. And so, him having the Mid-Atlantic D.C. region as a strong tie for a recruiter and his ability to coach, I thought he would be a good addition. So we got great staff. I mean, I couldn't imagine having a different staff. So happy that we have those guys.
The podcast for Boston is brought to you by the Stockyard, a classic American tavern that has served quality food and drinks to the greater Boston area for over 40 years. A 150-car parking lot, multiple private function venues, and 200-seated dining area makes the Stockyard a Boston rarity. Passion for excellent food and exceptional, friendly service is the Stockyard philosophy. Looking for the perfect venue to host your private event? The Stockyard Restaurant is a great spot for intimate dinners, birthday parties, and corporate events. And also a guy I used to work with, Danny Abrams, is a strong tie to the past.
Yeah.
And no one's more connected in BC basketball circles than Daniel.
Well, what's amazing is, so about 2 years ago, we saw that we forecasted that the tide is turning in college athletics.
Yep.
So we really talked about, hey, we may need a general manager, and we missed the opportunity 2 years ago, and we kind of paid for it. We lost 4 starters coming off a 20-win season. Like, so you never got to the next year where maybe you can win 25. Like, you had to start over again.
Yep.
You had to rebuild again. So, but I think with Danier, we ended up making a decision that following spring that, hey, we need to go out and get a general manager that can come in here and kind of take hold of some of this, new player evaluation of who do you try to go recruit, what is their value, having a database so we can be more excited about the free agent period. Like, we're looking to get our team better, and we're not discouraged about like how the roster is going to change. We should be excited.
Yeah.
So I think he came in and really helped stabilize our retention, and then did an excellent job, when recruits come on campus, instead of me sitting down with the kid and the mom and dad and talking about, their value, I can turn it over to the general manager, and he can say, hey, here's what we see, and here's what we're willing to do to really support your son if he come here. And he can talk to the agents, he can talk to the parents, and that keeps me out of some of those conversations, which has been very refreshing.
Yeah.
It's more like a professional, build now, with having kind of a front office within your staff. So it's been amazing to have Daniel on the staff.
Speaking of that, the current nature of college athletics, which you touched upon, changes every week. Everything's in flux. NIL, transfer portal. How have you dealt with that through the last couple of years? Do you feel like, it sounds like you're on the right track. Do you feel like you're streamlined now?
Yeah, I think, once you accept and embrace anything, and come up with a plan, that's when you get excited, And so I think we have a different model, where for 26 years in this profession, I was very convinced of the model we had to win. That you win with who you lose with, and that every program and organization go through stages of you form your team, you storm with that team, then it becomes normal, and then you perform. I saw it at Winthrop.
Yeah.
10 wins to 29. I saw it at Clemson, 13 to 22. I saw it at Wichita State, 11 to 29. I saw it at College of Charleston, 9 to 27. I saw it at Boston College, 13 to 20. So that was the model.
Yep.
But then with the newness of everything and the the profession changing, you say, man, hey, that's not the model anymore. So we had to regroup and come up with some remodeling. Now there's a hybrid model where maybe you don't have to form and storm. You got to form because you got to form your roster. You might can skip a storm, or you might storm and norm in the same year because you got 7 new guys. They're trying to figure out the system. You're more talented, but they don't have the understanding. And so, but if you can retain some guys, I think the hybrid model is what I believe is how you win at Boston College. The hybrid model. You keep 4 to 5 good players, continue to help them improve because we do develop, and our guys have been very successful in our programs going from one year to the next. And then you go plug in high character talent.
Yeah.
So, for example, a guy like Bogan Kapke, who knows how his season's going to go? But he visited us out of high school, so we spent time with him and his mom and dad, and we knew who he was. He was a BC guy, you know, that went to a school in Minnesota. I think it was Holy Family. Like, he's supposed to be here. Like, he fit. And he's talented, and he's big, and now he's older. So we got actually having him now is better than having him as a freshman, because if we got him as a freshman, maybe we didn't take Jaden Hastings. So we took Jaden Hastings instead. Now we got them both. So the hybrid model, I think, is the way that we're going to win here, and we're excited about it now. Now that we've adjusted, we're excited about it.
That's refreshing to hear that. One guy you brought in too, Chase Forte, your point guard, he was a guy that was pretty hotly recruited in the offseason. How did you get him, and what have you learned about him thus far?
Well, I mean, the way we got him is we were honest with him. You know, I think when you get into the transfer portal, there's a lot of kind of obscure information being told. And you're wondering if the player and the families is getting the same information that you relaying to the kids' support group. And so you're trying to figure out, hey, do we have help? Is anybody going to help us get this kid? Like, do we know anybody that's connected to the kid that's going to tell us some truth? And so for us, we told the kid the truth, and we found his representative team that knew of us some about the players that we've had in the past and how they performed. So that guy saw how it could be a fit because our guards have been very successful over the years. So he could tell the kid, you know what, they've had really good guards, and they've had some that got drafted. Yeah. So, like, we had some help. If you don't have help in recruiting, walk away and go to the next kid because it's a kind of a cutthroat deal, right? And so with him, we had some help, somebody telling him the truth. Hey, it can be a great place for you. I see it. I see the vision. I see the plan. I think that the guards can flourish there. So that helped us. And then he was looking for the ACC. You know, he's from Raleigh. You know, he's from Raleigh-Durham area, so he was looking for the ACC. He's an underappreciated kind of a junkyard dog worker. And so that's a BC fit. You know, BC had a lot of underdog, you know, junkyard dog workers. And so, so it's a perfect fit for him. He's a good student, wanted a degree, get his master's. He's a high character guy. And so it just worked out. And I think he's just going to get better as we go through the season.
What have you learned since you came here day one until now? Has it been a curve for you to get comfortable?
Yeah, what I've learned is there's not many places like Boston College. This is a special place. And, you know, as a father, you want your children to go to a place like this because it is, as much as you're going to try to win as a basketball player, there is a transformative experience for the person. And so if a parent send a kid here, you know, their kid's gonna come back better off than when they drop them off. So I have seen that. You know, I've learned that. I've learned that from, you know, just different professors. It's such a close-knit neighborhood. You know, I know deans. I know student affairs folks. I know the president, Father Leahy.
Sure.
I know Father Jack. I mean, it's such a close-knit place. You know, you meet so many people, and they really care about the kids. And the professors care. I listen to how our players talk about their professors. So I know people care. And I think that people want to serve and help the community and help each other. So it's just special. I also pay attention to the alumni and the network Like so many of my players who graduated and different alums hired them and got them started with their careers. Quentin Post is in, Golden State, in the Bay Area, and he have dinner with BC, supporters, and they stay in contact with him and support him. So what I've learned is it's a special place holistically, and I can't even imagine what it's going to look like and how special it's going to be when we get back to the NCAA tournament. Because it's been special. We got to the NIT, we haven't been to the tournament.
Right.
And so, but it's basketball, it's academics, it's holistic life. I've been at a lot of different schools, and I just haven't seen anything like this in terms of what I felt being here. And it makes you, as a coach, want to continue to fight to get that program to match what the alums do for the school, to match what the academic standard is, to match the city, and
right.
you're trying to get the team to catch up to all of that stuff.
Yeah, no, it's certainly you've done a terrific job melding community and team, and it's a neighborhood. Boston College is clearly a neighborhood school. Finally, BC has success this year. What has to happen?
Get better every day. Get better every day. We got the talent, we got the size. We really don't back down. We fight, we compete, we show up. We connected, we stay together. So we're going to work. We always going to work. We're going to roll our sleeves up and work. So I think we just got to get better every day. We got to find our rhythm. This team needs to find some success. I think success is contagious, and belief and confidence is contagious. So, that's what we got to get going here in the first, couple of weeks of the season.
And tomorrow night should be fun. The Citadel at County Forum. You want fans there early and often.
Well, I love for the fans to be there, and get in and make a lot of noise and provide energy for our players. I think it's so critical. Not just fans on the outside of people in the community, but the students. I think it's so critical to come fight for their team, because when you win, you get a text if you're a student. If you're an alum, if you win, you get a text from somebody.
Oh, yeah.
You wear your T-shirt with pride. You wear your sweater with pride. You out and about, people talking about your team. When you lose, you get a text.
Yep.
So why not try to help your team win?
That's true.
Help your team win.
Everybody wins.
And you help by showing up. So, yeah, we definitely need fans to be there. We need them to be there. We need them to be loud. We need them to provide energy. The student body and the community, make your team win by showing up. A lot of times people say, well, they'll come if you win. Well, come and help them win. Be the sixth man, push them over the hump. And what we've seen is close games. It's going to be a lot of close games at times. So the fans can push a team over the hump.
It's great home court advantage when the place is rocking.
Great, unbelievable home court advantage when it's packed in there.
Oh, yeah.
It's a different place.
And you got some new swag this year with New Balance, some uniforms.
Yeah.
Fans are going to like, and that makes the team look even better.
Yeah, we got some great swag, great uniforms, great shoes. They customize everything for us. That's another thing that's unique. If you just look at a Dow Jones and say, let's look at all these different shoe companies and these apparel. New Balance is skyrocketing because just look at who they acquired. Look at the pros they acquired. Look at the athletes, whether it be baseball, basketball, football, track and field, tennis. The people they're acquiring is unbelievable, and we get to be one of the few flagship programs to get to represent New Balance. So I can imagine in the next couple of years it's going to even skyrocket even more.
Oh, no question.
If it's a Dow Jones, we definitely going up. They ain't going down.
We're going up. Earl Grant, a pleasure. Thanks for your time.
Appreciate you.
Good luck this year.
Thank you.
That's Earl Grant on the podcast for Boston. Thanks for watching, everybody.
I'll be the best alive.